So if you're joining us, then you already know that Classcraft is coming out with a huge update to their platform. One of the biggest updates since they released Classcraft back in 2013. And we're here to show you some of the updates that are coming. Now, quick disclaimer before we hop in. Some of these information, some of these pictures, some of this information we're giving you, all these things, they may be subject to change, okay? So we're giving you little tidbits of information. The update is growing and growing and growing as we speak. And so every single week we give you more information and we give you better, but just in case, I can't stand this guy over here. Do you see this guy? Okay, but just in case, we want to make sure to know that if you get in July comes and you see something a little different, it is all right. So who are we? My name is Kinshasa Msola, and I am the Senior Learning Team Specialist here at Classcraft. I've been in education for about 16 years. I was the Director of Academic Technologies at my school, used Classcraft to teach my students and my teachers, and they stole me away about 3 years ago, and I've been working for Classcraft ever since. And I join you along my awesome coworker. Hi.
Hello. Hi, I am Hutch, and I taught for 16 years, and I always taught science classes. So hello to all my STEM educators. I'm talking to you from Florida, and I'm also a learning team specialist at Classcraft. I used Classcraft with my kids for 4 years, really enjoyed it, really excited to share the love with you today. Thanks for joining us, and all educators, thank you so much for your service, especially throughout this past school year. Oh yeah, and I'm still talking. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get acquainted with your situation with Classcraft so that we can make this webinar as applicable as possible for you. So we're launching a poll, and for those of you who are watching this at a later date, the poll says the question that's on the screen right now.
Are you already familiar with the current version of Classcraft?
And this is going to allow us to know how in-depth to get and how specific to get into the differences between the current platform and the platform as it will be after the new release. Okay, great. So vast majority of us are familiar with the platform already, and that's great. We're going to go ahead and tailor our talk today towards those of us who are familiar with Classcraft. And so you'll hear a lot of specifics and a lot of like nitty-gritty details. Now, here's kind of the big overview of the new release. At Classcraft, we're mission-minded and purpose-driven, and so we want to help you motivate students, and we want to help you provide engaging and sustainable learning environment that's also very playful. So how do we make Classcraft even more sustainable for educators? And how can we make it accessible as possible to as many different educators as possible, irregardless of whether you're a quote unquote gamer or non-gamer, or you're a self-proclaimed techie or self-proclaimed technologically disinclined. How can we make it fun for everyone, no matter what your predisposition in those areas, and still maintain what's magical about Classcraft? And we believe that we have maybe achieved this.
Before we show you what we achieved, let me just go back real quick and just show you how we got here. Yes. So of course, what Hutch said, that was our goal. And so Classcraft, I give them definitely some pats on the back for this, okay? They really did their homework. So a quick glimpse just into the research is the first thing we did is really listen, okay? We got together, we collaborated with a lot of other K-12 educators. We watched their classroom, we watched closely, we asked them questions, what is working, what's not working, what approaches do you like? From then, we actually went to people who did not use Classcraft. That's actually my favorite part. So those who created an account but never used it, or created an account, used it, and then it kind of trickled off and they stopped using it. And we asked them the hard hit questions. What made you stop using it? What didn't work for you? And then we collected the feedback from those conversations. After that, we came up with about 17 different versions of the platform.
17.
Yes, 17. Like, what? We tested those. We had those educators view them, and then we boiled it down to 4 different versions. And then we tested those 4 different versions inside the classroom. So after all that feedback, after reviewing that information, we came up with what you're about to see now. And I'm going to pause for, no, no. Look, if my computer freezes. So this led us to, again, one of the biggest changes, one of the biggest upgrades, one of the biggest UX design ever in Classcraft history since our launch in 2013. So now with Classcraft, you can actually unlock your journey at your own pace. So learn as you kind of teach your students, right? In this unlocking your journey, educators will now be able to progress through 4 different distinct chapters, unlocking different features, unlocking different tools, and unlocking an at their own pace, right? As they get comfortable with Classcraft, as they become experienced with Classcraft, they can open it up and open up new features for their students. Now, we included these to give you just a general sense of, again, of what's to come. So that, of course, that important disclaimer that some of these images must change. So with Classcraft, we have 4 different chapters. Now we call these chapters because just like in a chapter book, you're going to follow the journey, you're going to follow the story along with it. Now the first, of course, is chapter 1. Now the educator's journey starts here, where our main goal is honestly to get you up and running, and that's it, as quickly as possible. So we help you do this by giving you total control of the visibility of your progression and help you implement your tools at your own pace. This to me is really important because a lot of times when you created, especially my ambassadors on the call, when you first created Classcraft, what did you do, right? You logged in, you created an account, and you created a class. Then after you created a class, you said how long that class would go. Then you named the class, right? Then you went over the presets. Then you went over the the rewards. You went over the then you rostered your kids. Okay, so. And I loved it. I'm not making fun of Classcraft, okay? But there was just a lot of steps to do before actually getting started. And we have totally reimaged that. We totally changed that. So in chapter 1, all you really do is give points to your students, okay? You give points to them, but they don't have individual accounts or their avatars yet. So this means students don't have to go into the platform just yet. Students don't have to have a login to the platform. You don't really have to explain the entire system to them. This to me is great because this works with especially our lower elementary students, okay? Now, the same rules apply in regular Classcraft. As you see positive actions happening into your class, you'll notice those positive actions and you'll give your students points. But from here, it's you giving the students points. So we have this new design dashboard where all you have to do is click on that little B for Bessie, or well, we've got a lot of Bessies, or C. I don't think I ever noticed that, for coding. And then the teacher is giving the students points, all right? So it's very simple, very easy to get up and running. Once they see enough points, your students earn a crystal, okay? As they earn a crystal, they can actually turn in that crystal and spend that crystal on a power. So yes, the students still have powers even though they don't have logins, okay? So same thing, you're given points. As they level up, they earn a crystal. As they get a crystal, they can turn in that crystal for a power. Now, a little bit different, the entire class has 3 universal powers, okay? So that can be like, I don't know, a no homework pass, a free recess day. I don't know. I'm going back to my elementary here. or grab from the potato chip bag, whatever it is. Okay. But those 3 powers are accessible by everyone. So that's your chapter 1. Hutch, tell them what's in chapter 2.
Okay. So once you're ready to progress to chapter 2, then you're going to be able, that's when you're going to be able to let your students have accounts. They're going to be able to then log into Classcraft. They're going to be able to see a basic character, which is not going to be, if you're already familiar with Classcraft, you know that there are 3 different character classes that students must choose right off the beginning as the platform stands right now. That will not be the case in chapter 2 after the new release. Once students log in, they won't have to make a choice about a guardian, a healer, or a mage. They will not have to make that choice. They will just receive a adventurer.
Adventurer.
They will all be
adventurers. Okay.
Yes. And as
adventurers. I don't know if you're going to do it 3rd time, man. You gotta let me know this. You gotta let me know this.
They still retain the 3 basic powers that the entire class had available in chapter 1. They retain all of the experience points that you were giving them in chapter 1, but now they also can earn different rewards. They can now earn adventurer. They can earn customizations for their
character.
And they can earn adventurer pets, which are different than their mage and guardian and healer pets. So they'll also in chapter 2, a couple of large things happen here. The big thing that happens in chapter 2, now that students can log in and participate within the platform, is you can now have quests, because now students can do things in Classcraft. So you can provide your lesson plans on fun interactive maps. The quest feature is not changing in any way. So for the vast majority of us here who are already familiar with Classcraft, quests will not change. You will not lose any of your quests. You will retain them all. It's just that they won't be available until students can actually log into that class. And that class needs to then be progressed to chapter 2 for students to do that. The other thing that happens is in chapter 1, you were giving experience or experience points only. Now in chapter 2, students are getting GP, which you may already be familiar with is as gold pieces, along with those experience points. And every time you click bundled with experience points are GP. And the GP are what the students will still use to purchase new looks for their character, those adventurer looks. And they will also be able to use the GP within the school store to purchase real life items like a pencil or a pen or a piece of paper or even a backpack, whatever you might have at a school store. But again, because it's a school store, that feature is only available to school-wide or district-wide licenses. Okay, what do we get in chapter 3, Kinshasa?
All right. So in 1, you have just your basic. I'm the teacher. I'm able to give you points. Students aren't logging in. Chapter 2, students can log in, which unlocks all the kind of cool things that you guys are used to. And in chapter 3, we unlock a little bit more. So in chapter 2, you have the access to a basic character, the
adventurer.
I knew he was going to do that. And chapter 3, we actually unlock the advanced avatars, the ones you're kind of used to, okay? So they're actually able to pick between a mage, a guardian, or a healer, an adventurer. Yeah. Now, the good thing about this, since they have these, your 3 different classes, now you can actually place your students into teams as well. So some of those team those team benefits come around, as well as those team powers, right? Those collective powers come around as well. Remember, you couldn't do that before because the students weren't in teams. All right. The dashboard just does change just a little. If you remember in one, you didn't see a character, you just had the initial, the kid's first initial. In chapter 2, you get to see a little bit of the character, maybe if they had different gear on their adventurer. And now in chapter 3, as you see on the dashboard, you're really able to see their avatar now, okay? So you can see what their avatar is, you can see what level they're on right there. And then of course you can access all of your students. Now that's it for chapter 3. Did I miss anything?
Nope, great job.
All right, and then last but not least,
Last but not least is chapter 4. This is the full Classcraft experience now. This is as far as you can go. And at this point, you see on the little class progression picture there, you see that there's the red minus button with health and privileges, or pledges, health and pledges being unlocked at this chapter. Now that is the big addition to chapter 4. And along with that, now that there are, then and the health will show up as hearts, but along with that, you're now going to see the gameplay powers that will affect and help students to teamwork and collaborate around health and health loss. So healers will now be able to heal and guardians will now be able to protect, whereas before those powers were not in or on the rewards that students would receive in chapter 3 because no character had health to heal or to protect. And for those of you who aren't familiar, yes, healers can get powers where they heal teammates, guardians can get powers where they protect teammates, and mages get powers where they can re-energize teammates to continue to use those collaborative powers. Now, in the new release, you use a crystal to play a power, and so mages will have powers that regenerate crystals for their teammates, whereas healers have powers that regenerate hearts, and guardians will have powers that prevent the loss of hearts when they're protecting. We have some hardcore, old school, long time ambassadors here watching today. So I'll give you the specific numbers. Guardians are going to have 4 crystals. Every character has 4 crystals max up until chapter 4. Guardians continue to have 4 crystals once chapter 4 hits. Healers will have 5 crystals and mages will have 6 crystals. The trade-off there is still the same as the trade-off with health, whereas we balance the classes where a guardian having the least number of crystals will have the most health. Guardians will have 16 hearts. Healers will have 10 hearts and mages will have 6. So those numbers again are Guardian, 4 crystals, 16 hearts. Healer, 5 crystals, 10 hearts. Mage, 6 crystals, and 6 hearts.
Nice.
Along with that, you're also going to get your boss battles unlocked because if you know what boss battles are, they're a formative review game where we all win or lose together against a boss monster who is asking us questions. And if we get those questions correct, we take away health from the boss monster. If we get those questions incorrect, the boss monster takes our health away. And that's not possible until we have health. So boss monsters or boss battles unlock in chapter 4, as well as other features that can affect an avatar's health, like the volume meter. The volume meter unlocked back in chapter 1, but it now can have the addition of teachers adding on a loss of hearts or health if the students are too loud. This is the picture right here, everyone, to snap a shot of the screen and take away some notes from today. And this is just kind of reviewing everything we've talked to up until this point, but I also want to point out that there's a lot of deep pedagogy and psychology going into the planning of these 4 chapters. We didn't just kind of like decide, oh, let's just throw in health at the end, or let's throw in like the mage and the guardian, the healer in chapter 3. It was very carefully planned out based on the purpose of those mechanics. And so in chapter 1, we're looking at providing students motivation, but it's really extrinsic motivation from an external system that is run by the teacher with them having no login. And that's good. They can receive powers and crystals and experience. That's fine. But it's more intrinsically motivating the further to the right you go in your chapters. Whereas like in chapter 2, now they can participate. They can go into quests. They can log in. In chapter 3, you're fulfilling that relatedness and that teamwork component. They're getting put on teams and they get more autonomy when they get to choose a character class. And then in chapter 4, you get the height of the intrinsic motivation for the students, because now they're invested more in a risk and reward type of situation, having health where they could lose health, but they can also help heal their teammates and be an important part and fulfill a role on their team. Okay, there's lots more to say about that, but in the sake of time, let's move into the second phase of our webinar. What do you say, Kinshasa?
Before I do that, I want to point out a couple of questions I have in the Q&A real quick.
Ooh, cool.
And one of them is a great question by Kevin. Kevin is saying, can teachers advance to the chapters whenever they feel like it? Or are there certain things you have to do before you can advance? So Kevin, yes, the great thing is if you feel like you want to start off in August and you already know Classcraft, maybe your students know Classcraft already, yes, you can fast forward all the way to level 4 if you want to. My suggestion for someone who doesn't know Classcraft, or if you've never heard of it or is very new to you, I would go ahead and start off on chapter 1 and follow the progression. Why? Because while the levels kind of unlock for you, there's also little tutorials in there too. So it'll allow you to get to understand how to use those new tools that are coming up in the next chapter. It even gives you a bit of the pedagogy on why we're using these tools for the chapter. So even my hardcore ambassadors that are in here, it won't hurt maybe if you don't want to do it with the students though, but it won't hurt to start off on 1 and kind of, slowly go into 4. Kevin also says, is the new chapter 1 story the same as the first chapter in story mode now? So story mode is a little different than these chapters that we're doing. These chapters are for you. Story mode is more for your students. Story mode is what you download from our story mode website, and it gives you the ability to create a quest right there on the fly. So you don't have to come up with a story. All you have to do is put it in your content. Now, when we're thinking about these chapters, yes, it's a story, yes, it's a journey, but it's more of a journey for the educators. Your students won't see this part of it. It's you progressing through the levels of Classcraft and going through when you're comfortable enough. So no, totally different, Kevin, but great answers. Great questions, guys. Anything you want to add on to that, Hutch, or?
Well, that was very good, very good. There will be some of the, and there's new developments coming around all the time because we're constantly, as we're developing the platform, we're coming up with like better iterations and things. And so there will be some animated video that you will be able to show your students to introduce a new chapter. We're making videos that you will be able to click and play for your kids live to introduce them to the features of that chapter and also to get them excited. So there will be like some animated pieces to that story to talk about kind of like you and your class's learning journey going on together. But it is not the same story that is in story mode. That is correct, what Kinshasa said. We're just adding on some animated bits to help you to take away off, take the responsibility or the weight off of your shoulders to feel like you have to be able to explain to the kids what their class is going to be like when we move into chapter 2. You don't have to do that. We're going to have a video for you to share with that.
Awesome. So to go on to that second phase, just to let you know, we're going to point out some of these things we've already said already, but we just want to make sure you get the hard hit points of the update. The biggest change, of course, is the actual dashboard. The teacher dashboard has definitely changed. It's much faster. It's more intuitive. It's the interface offers a quicker workflow, basically to ensure that teachers who are familiar with Classcraft or have never even seen Classcraft, they can still use this with minimal effort. And again, as you progress through the journey, the dashboard will upgrade as you are ready to upgrade. This is not the best picture. I don't know why in the world I use this picture for this. I feel like every other picture we've shown was better, but as you see, you're able to access the students off that one screen. And I love that because before you have your students and then you have like that little bar, you go down, you find the kid, so on and so forth. Here you kind of have a nice, good view of all of the students at the same time. Also, a very, very, very important update is we have some lingo that change. So health points, or HP, have now been changed to health. And they're represented with the cutest little red hearts in the world. And I just love
With your little cute hearts.
it's like, oh, right, I want to squeeze you and love you and hug you. Okay. And then action points, if you remember those guys, or AP, this is what our students use to kind of cash in their AP to use their powers. Still there, but they have changed to crystals. And of course, that's symbolized by those blue diamonds, or those blue crystals. gem looking things. I can't make that with my finger. Okay. We also have smaller numbers that are shown. This is great, especially for, again, our younger elementary or early learning students and regular elementary. Heck, I say it's great for me as an educator because I don't know about you, but there was a lot of numbers going on. On the older Classcraft. So this is just a little bit more simpler, simple numbers, simple interface, easier to track the student progress. So here's just a side-by-side comparison of a quick look of the old dashboard and a quick look of the new dashboard. So on the right-hand side, you're going to see the existing point system. So you have the student's name. You guys know this, their level, who they are, what level they are, what character they are, sorry. And then you have all these cool little numbers. There's a lot going on over there. The XP is 130 minutes. Right. Come on. Come on. On the left-hand side, as you see, it's a lot, just a little bit better. You know, it's more intuitive. You get a nice screenshot of that student. As soon as you get it, you're able to see how many health, how many crystals, number of gold pieces, and the experience. We still have the experience bar, but of course those numbers are simplified a little bit. Hutch, before you go into your awesome slide, do me a favor and tell me about these color changes, because when I think experience points, I think of yellow, right? That's, I automatically go, why the purple?
Why the purple? Well, I love this. There's a lot of thought going into all the little changes. And this one is to help us be 100% compliant with ADA standards. So what that means is it makes Classcraft very accessible. We want Classcraft to be something that is easy to use, not just less clicks with all the kids on the screen at once, that kind of stuff, not just more intuitive to move through the interface, but we also want it to be easy to use visually so that it's accessible, even if you have visual, some visual trouble. So the purple has much higher contrast to the white background than the yellow does from the current platform. So
I'm gonna have to change up my trainings.
Yeah, I like it. It's really rich,
Yeah, I really like it.
Pretty. Oh boy, is it time for me to talk about that?
It's time.
Oh boy, okay. This is my favorite change, everyone. Okay, I absolutely love that I was a STEM teacher, so I do love numbers, nothing against numbers, but visually, I also cherish simplicity. And so the reduction of the amount of numbers on the screen is my absolute favorite thing, where we're now replacing AP with crystals and HP with hearts. But my next favorite thing is the way that we are going to share with students the rewards that they will be able to unlock as they level up in your class. So on the left here, we see the current or the old version, where when students level up, they would receive one PowerPoint, which is a hidden type of point in the platform right now. It's not the Microsoft presentation application PowerPoint. It's a PowerPoint represented by that little green hand icon with a star in the middle. There it is. And they receive one of those every time they level up, and then they can go into this power tree and they can choose to purchase a power for different numbers of those power points. It's not explained anywhere. Students literally have to just figure it out. Now, that mechanic is found in several video games, but it's not something that's as prevalent as the new system, which we see on the right here, which is a rewards track. So almost every AAA game available out there in the world right now uses some sort of rewards track that they will update like seasonally. And so we're going to have this as well. It's not going to be updated seasonally. It's going to be the same track that students have access to throughout your entire course. However, you as the teacher will be able to update it if you'd like. You'll be able to add rewards in, remove rewards. You'll be able to add in extra powers, remove powers if you don't want them in there. By default, the rewards track will run all the way up to level 40. Whereas currently, students can pretty much unlock every reward within the platform by reaching level 18. And level 40 is meaningful because, Kinshasa, how often should students like be leveling up in the platform as it is right now? Like how often should
platform? Well,
yeah.
if you divide the number of levels and you take that number and then you divide it within the number of weeks, but then it depends on the usage of your quest and then the usage of the XP versus the GP. And then we take the Infinity Stone and then we multiply that by it was, I don't know, man. It was hard. They leveled up when I said they leveled up. There we go.
Right? It was so yeah. We've been fielding that question at the learning team and the support team. We've been fielding that question from teachers and educators a lot because it's a great question. Like, how often should my students, be leveling up to stay engaged? That question is becoming a lot easier to answer here. Whereas in a typical school year, we have 36 weeks of school. And if we offer 40 levels of rewards, then it's easy to say, oh, why don't we just like kind of let kids level up once a week?
I love
if
that.
they're fulfilling expectations, level up once a week. You won't even run out of stuff by then. And because teachers can now add to the rewards track at will, if you have some student who's leveling up crazy, you can add things on at the end. Here is a mock-up of what the rewards track will look like to a student. And I love that it's visible to the student because they can now practice goal setting. So you can use Classcraft rewards to have students set SMART goals, if you know what SMART goals are. And they can kind of say like, okay, I really want to hit level 7 by the end of the month because I'm going to try to get, this power that I want to start using in class. They can also see how many rewards they're going to receive, and they see everything they'll receive. Mm-hmm. So if you look at level 2 here with the red crystal, it says 4 rewards. And that's going to be the original, the second class power that was available way back in chapter 1. That's going to be a crystal because every single level, the students get a crystal. It's going to be some gold pieces, which unlocked in chapter 2. And then it's going to be it's going to be that adventurer gear or another piece of gear set. And they'll click on that and they'll be able to see all of that. They won't wonder what they're getting. Right now, every time a student levels up, they get one of those PowerPoints, they get some gold pieces, and then they unlock a new set of gear that they can purchase with those gold pieces, but none of that is communicated to them. So this visibility is great, and I love it because now it's going to allow students to be much more engaged and participative in their own progression and in setting goals towards where they want to be.
Very motivating too, having the ability to see, what's coming next. because that's how I like that in my Starbucks app. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then, of course, we know we only spent about 40 minutes giving you all of this. There's going to be changes that are going to come that we may not have told you, or some of those pictures may change here. So we want to make sure to let you know, as always, we have your back. Okay. We're not going anywhere. We have embedded little tutorials within your entire journey. So it's like having a little hutch like right on your shoulder, creepy little hutch.
No one wants that.
All times, helping you along the way. Okay. So, teacher startup is really simple. It's really easy. However, you can learn as you go with these tutorials, these journeys. We give you a glimpse on what's next in the next chapter. If you don't want to open up, you're like, oh, okay, I see what's next. Thanks, Kinshasa and Hutch. I'm going to stay right here in chapter 1. Or if you do open up, you're like, whoa, not ready for chapter 2 yet, or not ready for chapter 3. You can always go back, okay? But you have your virtual trainings built right inside the platform now, and we're developing all those videos now. And like Hutch said, we're even developing the videos for students too. All right.
Yes.
That's it, guys. Believe it or not, that's all. All right. A lot of this is easy. I know it seems like a lot, but the changes are going to be so much better. It's going to feel so seamless now that you're going to probably be like, I don't even need Kinshasa and Hutch anymore. Don't not need us. We need you. I'm going to hit the Q&A and see if there are any questions, and also the chat, because I have not been paying around with the chat. Oh, we have a question. Do we still have random events? Yes. So a lot of your tools are still in there. There has been no changes to your class tools. As Hutch stated before, some of the class tools just unlock a little later. For instance, Boss Battle doesn't unlock till level 4 because the use of HP is not given to, or hearts, sorry, is not given to the students until level 4. So that's when your Boss Battle will level up. But your random events are there from chapter 2, I believe. Let me lie to you. I believe it's chapter 2. Ken, go for it.
It might be as early as chapter 1, but they may be limited because some random events will like randomly choose
like a character.
Students do something. But
here, hold on. I'm going to get you the exact answer. Just give me 2 seconds.
That's what I'm talking about. Awesome, Ken on the line. Let's hold that question real quick, and then we'll go to the next one and then come right back to you. We have another question. The rewards can still be customized based on the avatar class that the kids choose. The rewards can still be customized, but okay. The reward.
Yes, Kevin. So this is very specific, but the rewards track will adapt to your class as your class progresses to the next chapters. So the rewards track, it exists even in chapter 1.
Right.
But all that exists on it is 1 crystal for every level. And in the first 3 levels, there are the powers, the first 3 powers that students can earn in your class. And then it's a crystal every other level. After, like in chapter 2, now that they have adventurer gear they can earn, the adventurer gear is thrown in on subsequent levels, and still a crystal and gold pieces now show up at every level that they can earn. And then in chapter 3 is where you'll see the advanced powers, where now you can have healers and mages and guardians, and they can each have different rewards on their rewards tracks. So that's at that point in chapter 3 is where you can now have different things on the rewards tracks because you have different character classes.
Yep. I just threw this slide up just in case.
I got an answer for you, by the way, for random events.
I can.
Random events will be available at chapter 3.
Oh,
That makes sense. Because random events can be customized to pick a random guardian, healer, mage, and they would kind of be broken if you couldn't have guardians, healers, or mages.
And they also affect specific teams too.
Yes. Okay.
That's true. And you don't have teams until chapter 4. Nice, Ken. Nice. Thank you. To the rescue.
You can. Teamwork,
Uh,
dreamwork.
So again, nothing changes with the class tools. Like the design doesn't change, the functionality doesn't change with all of the class tools. They're still going to be there, but they're just going to unlock on certain chapters.
Yes. And where students, we had a question about Kudos, where they access those now on the left hand side of their dashboard when they log in to the left of their character. They will see Kudos pop up once you progress your class to chapter 3. Kudos become available. And that's again because when you send a Kudos, you can send them to a team, but if you don't have teams, you can't, the feature doesn't work correctly. So they unlock at chapter 3 as well.
Awesome. Okay, guys, any more questions? We have some great. This is why I love I just want to point out, Katie, welcome. I know you are new to Classcraft. Thank you for sticking with us for the entire session. And I love it. It seems like you are excited about starting Classcraft. So yes, Katie, yes. I believe Ken is giving you all that information you're asking for online. So welcome to Classcraft. Another question we have is, do we have an exact date for the updates? Unfortunately, not. We don't even know, guys. So the only answer we can give you is the end of July. We're hoping sooner, but the only answer we can say is the end of July. So when you are doing your work or getting ready for the next school year, just think the end of July is when, log into Classcraft and play around and explore it before submitting it to your students.
And just like you have a demo class right now to explore, if you were just getting really excited, you're not into Classcraft yet, but you now have a little bit of free time and a little bit of extra energy because the school year's over, you can dive in, create a free teacher account right now. And then when the new release comes out, you can, there will be a clickable button in the platform that lets you just kind of convert your current version over to the new version. And the only reason why you might want to do that now is because basically the way the platform is today is a chapter 4 version of a Classcraft class in the new release. You can also start creating boss battles and quests, and all of those will come right over to your new release classes. So they won't be lost.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
Another note, if you say, hey, I love all these new changes, they're awesome, I want to roll with the old Classcraft already. My kids have used it already. I don't want anything to change. If you're a current user of Classcraft, you don't necessarily have to switch over. We're not making you switch over until the end of the year. So you have up to December 31st to switch over to the new platform. Let's just say you want your kids to continue out, or maybe you do summer school and that summer school doesn't end till maybe August or something. You can take the time to switch at your need. Oh, as well as my favorite part is if you do multiple classes, like I taught 19 classes, okay, in 1 week. You are able to have those classes on different chapters. So if I teach, my first, second, and third grade, I may just want them on chapter 1. Maybe third grade, I want them to go to chapter 2, chapter 3. And maybe my fourth grade, my middle school, and my professional development sessions, I'll push out to chapter 4. So I love that all your classes can be on different levels if you want that.
I just wanted to mention that a couple people have asked about pricing. I'm going to just put a link into the chat so you can go and anybody can go and take a look at the pricing for Classcraft. And yes, and I also wanted to answer Mary's other question about how to try the demo. Essentially, Mary, you have to sign up for Classcraft first, create a teacher account. It's free. And then after you're done the account setup, you'll have access to create a new class or your demo class over on the right-hand side of the screen. All you gotta do is click on that demo class, and like students with like they're basically fake students that you can go in and view as a student and things like that. That's where you access it. Okay, it's on the right-hand side of your screen once you create an account and logged in for the first time.
All right, awesome. Again, Ken is always on it. I believe that'll too. Marie. I hope he answered all your questions. All right. I think I also read that it will be integrated to Canvas. That just unlocked.
Yes.
Great question, Katie. Yes.
Yes. That is a thing now.
As of what? Like yesterday? Last week?
It was like last week.
Like Sean Young, our the creator of Classcraft, he just did a webinar with the folks at Canvas and talked all about that, and you can watch that on demand. I guess it's actually like right there if you create a teacher account, and it's on your teacher home. It's hanging out at the top right. It's really cool. You can set things in Canvas to automatically give students Classcraft points right there in Canvas. You don't have to go back and forth between Canvas and Classcraft. And if you're familiar with the integration, we also have an integration with Google Classroom. If you're familiar with that integration, it works differently from Canvas to Google Classroom. So check out the webinar and check out how that works. We also have, if you don't want to watch the webinar, we have a wonderful blog article on it as well on our blog.
Who wouldn't want to watch the webinar? No, I'm kidding. And Robert just
maybe they don't want to watch a whole thing. Maybe they like reading.
Well, it's not us, so I can understand if you don't want to watch someone else doing it. You know, no, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Robert, yes, I believe we do have plans to integrate with Schoology. Unfortunately, those are not just yet. So unfortunately, you're going to have to hold on a little longer for the Schoology integration. But I believe plans are still in the making. Okay. Adam, does this mean? I don't know that answer, Adam. I'm going to ask you to go to the pricing page, or do you know?
I think the monthly pay option is going away. And it's a yearly license or a school license or a district license. But there are lots of wonderful funding options for schools to use funding for Classcraft as a PBIS initiative or social emotional learning initiative. We have some wonderful studies and data showing, how beneficial it is at a school-wide or district-wide level. So we're happy to share that with you if you'd like, or share that or contact folks at your school or your district. I wouldn't be doing it. I'm not a salesperson. I wouldn't know what I was doing, but we have some amazing folks who can do that. If you're interested, let us know.
And then Kevin has, I see that the school store is in chapter 2. Is that available for individual accounts or only school accounts?
Again, that's only school or district accounts. Yeah.
All right.
For Teresa's question, I'm not entirely sure. Do you guys have the answer for that for quarterly teaching?
So I am guessing a little bit here, but based on the way that we wanted to streamline getting into the platform and getting going as fast as possible, I think we did away with the question, the pop-up screen that asks you how long your class will run for. I'm not sure that's even there anymore, like at this point.
Well, the duration can be changed in the settings of the classroom. Teresa, how about you reach out to support@classcraft.com? I'd love to get you the 100% correct answer on this. I don't want to give you an answer that's only 75% sure here. So
yeah.
Reach out to us at support@classcraft.com and ask for Ken, and I'll be happy to find the answer for you.
Yeah, that's always a great way to go. Pretty much all of my answers are only about 75% sure. So no matter what I ever say.
You know. All of my answers are go to support.com and classcraft.support.com and ask for Ken. Those are all of my answers. But no, these are some great questions, guys. These are some great questions.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Kevin says, are the 3 powers in chapter 1 set by the teacher? Yes. They are. When you first jump in, Kevin, I believe there'd be a flow of screens that will kind of pop up for you to get you going. And one of them will pretty much be like, hey, what do you want to, encourage in your class? what are some things you would give kids points for? And there'll be a few defaults, and you can select 2 or 3 from those, and those will be the things that you click to give points for, or your positive behaviors. After that, it may have you actually practice clicking and giving points, but then it'll on a fake student, but then it will also say, hey, the student has now earned enough points to earn a crystal. Like it'll literally have a tutorial that kind of does this with you, and you'll say, oh, they earned a crystal, what does that mean? And then you say, oh, I want to, like, they're going to get a reward, and it'll say, like, okay, well, what kind of reward should they get? And it'll have a few defaults kind of floating around, and you can pick those as default powers, or you can add your own at that moment. And I'm pretty much sure that it's just going to be 3 to start off with to keep things simple.
Right.
But you can add more later.
All right, guys, we're boiling down here. Keep them coming. If we're here to till 6, if you need us. These questions are excellent.
I really liked what Kevin said in the chat, where Kevin said, I think the chapters will also be good for motivating students if they know new things will be released as we progress through the chapters. And actually, Kevin, that's a very insightful comment. It means you definitely listened and grasped what we're talking about. And that is exactly what I would do if I were able to use Classcraft again with the class. Is I would intentionally begin the class in chapter 1, and then kind of, progress the class almost as reward for the students. Or maybe like once everybody earns enough XP to reach level 3 in our class, then our class will progress to chapter 2, and you'll be able to have logins. I would play, because I'm an experimental type of person, because I taught science, right? So I would play and experiment with my different classes, but I would definitely play around with like opening up those new chapters intentionally throughout the year to kind of like maintain and deepen student engagement and buy-in with the new features unlocking as you go. So I love that, Kevin. Yes, that's exactly what I would do.
I agree. And Teresa backs it up with that awesome comment too. It's also important for the students who are already familiar with Classcraft too. That way they'll anticipate the changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fresh. Breathe some freshness into it for them. With the adventurers are in chapter 2. That's all new gear they've never seen, even if they've played. Say again.
The what?
The
Sorry. Oh, one last time. I just want to do it one last time. Okay, I'm sorry.
I was waiting for it. This is great. Oh my goodness. Yes, it's all new gear, all new pets there. Even if the students have already used Classcraft for 3 years and played as a mage for 1 year, a healer is another year, a guardian is another year, like they're still gonna get some new stuff. And even the existing gear sets are getting facelifts. In fact, you may have noticed, like throughout this spring, our artists have actually been drawing updated versions of mage masks or different, guardian shields and stuff. And it's higher resolution. It's deeper detail. It's a little more vibrant in color. Yeah, take a look at the old gear if you haven't looked at it in a while. You may notice some really cool changes in there.
We also have some new battle bosses.
Yes, that's right.
It's like already
out in the spring here. Like that was just kind of a quiet, like, new battle bosses. Just kind of went out there.
Forgot all about that.
Mm-hmm.
I love the discussions in this. Like, this has been my favorite webinar to ever present with you guys. It's just so much fun stuff to talk about. And Kevin just put up a question. Ambition.
Oh, I missed that one. Hold on.
You should go ahead and take a look at that one, Kinshasa or Hutch.
One last question, I promise. It's okay, Kevin. We're here for you.
We love it.
The dashboard looks different. Can we still show and highlight kids' avatars? The new dashboard looks like we couldn't see the avatars. Yes, you can. Let's see if I can get a good picture. So this is, again, a bad picture, but here is the teacher dashboard. So it gives you a nice full range of all of your students at one time first. Now, if you want to deep dive into that student, let's just say you want to see Bessie Cooper, who comes up with these names? Simply, simply click on her and then you'll be able to get her information here. You can see her points, little tabs right there, the powers, and you'll able to see pledges. Of course, this is a level 4. That's why it's kind of hidden, because there's pictures in chapter 3, but we only have a level 4 picture. So
you can see it on slide 18 too. If you go to slide 18, you'll see the full.
There we go. Nice, Hutch.
Yeah. There you can, and that's a level 4. When your class is advanced level 4, you can view your class with the whole dashboard, all your kids at once, or you can see the roster list as you see here on the left. And then you can like they pop out to the right with all their stats there and their character on the right as well. They're the same way that you view them, that with like their avatar big and their little teammates avatars off to the side. You'll also see that as well once you progress to chapter 3 and create teams. So yes, you'll be able to show them off. And I love doing that too. I think that was a big motivating factor, actually, even with my high schoolers. Just using the random picker, the Wheel of Destiny, to pick my helper for the day, and then having their avatar projected up on screen for everyone to see, and just throwing out a compliment about the way they've customized their character. It just invigorated 90% of my students to be like, Mr. Hodge, show mine. I just got a new boots. I just got a new shield. I just got something, and it just really validated the way that they decided to customize their character and present themselves.
Yes. For me in elementary school, Classcraft is really, really about collaboration, not being competitive. However, human nature. When I did that, like I did a random event or something, and you've seen another avatar on the board, it automatically kicked the other kids to say, oh, show mine, show mine. And I mean, we would spend 5 minutes, going there. Okay. Look at the new hat. Look at the new this. And it would really get the students excited. Because remember, this is just a visual representation of them in your class. So it really gets them so excited to want to get more points, to want to, do the things they need to do for that pumpkin hat, on Halloween, or for the silly stuff on April Fool's. So yeah, the kids really got motivated. Mm-hmm. And I always remind teachers that too. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, and at the school-wide level, if you haven't experienced that, it's really, really cool, because administrators can kind of have student avatars and kudos that are just kind of scroll through on TVs or screens around school. So in the cafeteria, like you could have kudos popping up that shows the kid's avatar who received the kudos, and it's kind of scrolling through. It creates this school-wide positive culture that's beautiful, and kids are seeing other kids' avatars and getting customization ideas, or just seeing how cool that kid's avatar is, and they're not even in a class with that kid, but you're all part of the same community at your school, and you all have Classcraft avatars, and that's just a really cool thing for creating the sensation that you're part of something bigger than yourself. So it's been really, really cool to see.
I love that. All right, guys, it's 5:59 Eastern Standard Time. I don't know why. I'm sorry. We definitely hope that you came back with some information. Again, we're doing this every week. I believe we're have one again next Tuesday. That's back to regular time, which will be 2 p.m. Every time we learn something new, we add it to these sessions and we teach it to you guys. So maybe in a week, we might have something else cool to show you. Yay, Katie. I'm so excited you're excited. This is awesome. I love when new folks get in here.
Yeah.
That newbie energy. I love it.
Yeah, Katie just had to dive in the deep end here with us, talking about all the numbers and specific stuff. Great job, Katie.
All right, team. Well, thank you again for joining us. As always, we realize you guys have a lot to do, especially like Hutch said in the beginning, especially this year. We are so grateful for you guys, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.